Today's lesson is about humanism. Humanism is quite different to what we would have studied beforehand in our other topics like Christianity and Islam. Whereas humanism isn't really a religion itself, but it's a point of view, it's an outlook, it's a philosophy upon life. You might want to pause this video now if you're watching this for the first time and for your own revision and have a look and ask yourself the question, what is humanism? What is humanism and what it's about? It's a YouTube video explaining a bit more detail if you need that. But to answer this earlier question, humanism isn't a religion, as we said. It's generally a philosophy and an approach towards life. It's based on a concern for humanity in general and for human individuals in particular. It's for people who base their interpretation of their whole entire existence on the evidence of the natural world and its evolution, and not on a belief in the supernatural, whether that is gods, miracles, afterlife, revealed mortality, etc. In terms of what you'd be doing in your exams, this is quite different. It's not an organized religion as such. In fact, it's not a religion at all. As we said, it is this outlook, this point of view towards life. So you'll never be given a big long question on it, but you can always use it as our comparison and as a contrast to the other major world religions. It's also important to note, if you're looking at this and you're studying history, that humanist thought has existed for at least 2,500 years and can be found all around the world. To put that into context, humanism, and there's evidence of humanism across the world that predates Christianity, that predates the idea of Islam, that predates other major world religions. So even when we will talk about what's called the pagan gods today and the local gods of different tribes and different cultures, humanism still existed even then. If we're looking at this from a historical perspective, the word humanist has been used in various ways through the ages as well, especially if you're studying the Renaissance. Okay, so the Renaissance means the word rebirth. Okay, it was a rebirth of knowledge, information, the love of learning, science, technology, all the things we take for granted today. So many humanists in the past, such as those who lived during the Renaissance, for example, would have believed in a God as well. It's important to note that you can believe in a God and still have humanist tendencies, or still have, the same beliefs as a lot of humanists. But for the purpose of this course and this topic that we're doing in this sense, the word humanist is almost always used today in a non-religious, or what we would call a secular form. So this word secular means it's not connected with any religious or spiritual matters. The other interesting thing to note is that in 1933, a Humanist Manifesto was created and signed and published in Chicago. This was the first time in modern history that the key details of humanism were formally set out. Two updated versions of this manifesto setting out the key beliefs of humanism were then republished in 1973 and 2003. And the interesting thing about this is that we now have a document that we can see the formation of a document to do with a belief, to do with a philosophy, to do with a major international and a major worldwide movement that's done within the lifetime of the most living people. It's also interesting that when you look at these sacred texts and the ones that you'll study in your religion course, that the word a humanist manifesto is used as the comparison. So you have things like the Quran, you have things like your Bible, and they are the sacred word, or they're the holy word, or that the word from on higher. They tell the stories of holy people. Whereas the Humanist Manifesto itself is exactly as it says, it's human, it's man-made. It's not a sacred text, so your contrast is that it's a set of guidelines. The word manifesto is normally more traditionally seen in things like politics and business. A manifesto is a set of ideas, a set of guidelines, a set of goals, something to aspire to, something to achieve, but it is in no way religious. So, the very word manifesto itself means that it's secular, that it's not connected with these religious or these spiritual matters. Key beliefs of humanists are laid out in this manifesto, and in its modern form, humanism can be said to be based on 7 key beliefs that the manifesto then elaborates upon. Humanists believe that the world is a natural phenomenon with no supernatural side, and science provides us with the best way of understanding it. Now, the thing here is humanists, as well as being atheists, that they don't believe there's a God. And as we mentioned earlier, people can be religious and also still believe in elements of humanism. But but humanists can also be agnostics, and agnostics believe that human beings can't possibly know if there's a God, or there's no possible way of proving if there's an afterlife. But at the same time, they're not exactly discouraging it, and they're not saying that they don't believe in it. They just can't see the proof. Humanists do believe that this world is all there is. There is no evidence for the existence of a god, the gods, or the supernatural. For them, death is the end of each individual's personal experience. Human beings will not be judged at death, as there is no afterlife and no reincarnation. There is no judgment day. So, what you do on this earth, in this lifetime, in your only lifetime, is what's valuable and what's important. Humanists would believe that the only valid way, then, to seek out truth is through the ideas of reason, evidence, and scientific investigation. Humanists believe that we must make our own meaning in life. In many religions, as we've learned already, meaning flows from the belief that human beings are created by a God. Most religions teach them that the way to live a meaningful life has been revealed through sacred scriptures and the lives of holy men and holy women. Humanism believes, however, that there is no ultimate meaning in this sense. Rather, each individual must make his or her own meaning in life. Humanists believe that we should use reason and empathy and compassion and respect when deciding how to act. Or, in other words, use the golden rule. Humanists are secularists. They believe in freedom of religion and belief, and that no one religion or belief should hold a privileged place above the other. So it's inclusive. It's the idea that they're not discriminating against any one religion, but it's their belief, and that no religion should take a higher place than the other. Humanists, above all else, value humanity and celebrate human achievements. The best way to describe this is that humanists have a non religious worldview, and this non religious worldview is held by people who say we can find happiness and fulfillment in our lives without any belief in a God or in an afterlife. So, key dates for humanists. Many humanists worldwide celebrate Darwin Day on the 12th of February and World Humanist Day on 21st of June. Darwin Day is a celebration to commemorate the anniversary of the birth of Charles Darwin on the 12th of February 1809. This day is used to highlight Darwin's contributions to science and to promote science in general. And the other symbol that we have here is, of course, the happy human. So if you look at this in terms of a picture question, and we have our happy human here again. The way this could be asked is you could be asked to identify symbols associated with major world religions or major philosophies. So the best way to describe this is Triple H. Happy human, humanism. So what you have here, it was the international symbol of humanism, and it still is. It is used around the world in various forms by national and local humanist organisations and by the International Humanist and Ethical Union. The symbol was chosen in a competition organised by the British Humanist Association in 1965, and it was designed by Dennis Barrington. Note the oval-shaped head in the middle. The H then looks like a human jumping for joy, but it also stands for that Triple H, the happy human of humanism. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back again with more videos soon.